The prosecutor eventually opened her investigation, saying that she believed she was on safe legal ground, on sound legal grounds, and she had met all the requirements for opening this investigation. I believe that's not the case, because there's one issue that she has consistently avoided, and that is the question of temporal jurisdiction. She has put all of her focus, and the judges, as a result of her focus, have done the same, on territorial jurisdiction, which is important. But what about temporal jurisdiction? The date that was chosen by the Palestinians as part of their declaration under Article 12.3, conferring jurisdiction on the court, was June 13, 2014. The day before that date is the day that 3 teenagers were kidnapped and murdered in the West Bank by Hamas. It's perfectly understandable why Palestinians wouldn't want to include June 12 in the mandate of the court. What is less understandable is why the court wouldn't want to call on that, mention it, and why the court wouldn't want to try to analyze what is the cumulated impact of having the Palestinians do at the same time a declaration under Article 12.3 of the Rome Statute and signing and ratifying the Rome Statute. These are 2 bases of temporal jurisdiction of the court that are different, and their interaction deserved definitely some acknowledgement and treatment, and perhaps also a hint about the political aspects underlying the choice of the date coming from the prosecutor. And instead of that, there's been utter silence on the question of temporal jurisdiction, and in my view, this weakens the legal soundness upon which the investigation is proceeding. By entrenching in urban areas, Hamas has made itself virtually untouchable from the point of view of the laws of war. It creates these impossible dilemmas for a state like Israel that actually cares about the laws of war. Proportionality under the laws of war is not comparing how many people died on the Palestinian side versus how many people died on the Israeli side. I understand this might affect perceptions of legitimacy, it might affect public opinion. It doesn't affect the law. Hamas firing rockets at Israeli civilians indiscriminately is a violation, is a war crime. It's a grave violation of the laws of war. Even though Hamas is a terrorist organization and not a state, they are still bound by the basic principle of not intentionally targeting strikes at civilians or launching strikes at civilians. So that is war crime. Some people say, all right, so this is Hamas's decision. It's Hamas's responsibility. Israel can go ahead and target Hamas wherever it is, and this is the responsibility of Hamas. And that is absolutely wrong. Part of its strategy to operate from urban areas, put a command and control center in a basement of a hospital, okay? That doesn't make the patients in that hospital a legitimate target. Israel still has to protect them and to count them into its proportionality calculus. So I think this is very important to explain, and this is where the dilemma essentially comes from. It doesn't affect the targeting obligations of Israel, it complicates things, and any assessment of Israel's actions needs to be cognizant of the complexity of the environment that it operates in.